Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, I'm sure you know about the Babysitter series. It's a series of story times about an old babysitter I used to have when I was a kid, and how she's come back into my life, and there's just been a lot that's happened with her. And if you haven't seen any of those videos, I will link the most recent few in the description, and you can get caught up, because these all tie in to this video right here, so make sure you go watch those. Now, if you don't feel like watching them, and you're just not in the mood, I'll give you a small version of what's happened. I used to have this babysitter when I was a kid. She came back into my life recently. She wants to make a collab story time. She emailed me about making one. I said no, and then she found my address somewhere and showed up to my house in person without telling me, and I basically caught her just standing outside my house. Like, it was just a really creepy situation. And then she came back again a second time, and this last time I really thought we talked it out and it was done and over with. Like, we just pretty much agreed that the whole situation was a big misunderstanding and that it's done and over with. And she even knows about the videos I make on this channel about her, and she's totally fine with them. But I guess that changed in the last 2 days. So today's story time, it all starts off as a normal day about 2 days ago, okay? I got up, I went and got some breakfast, I came home, I worked on a video for a little while, I talked to some friends online. The start of my day was pretty normal, to say the least, okay? And around lunchtime, I got a restricted phone call. And I kind of just stared at the screen and let it ring, because I usually don't answer restricted phone calls, because it's either one of two things. It's either a telemarketer who's going to call me and be like, "Hey, is this Austin? Like, I'm here to sell you this sponge that was genetically modified in a lab and can clean up anything." I wish that existed, but sadly that's not true. But yeah, it's either a telemarketer or it's somebody that's trying to call me and just pull a prank on me or just be a troll. So I ignore it, right? I just let it ring. And it rings, it's done. I assumed that was the end of it, that they wouldn't call back. But right after it was done ringing, they call immediately back on restricted again. So I ignore that call. And then can you guess what happened? They called again. So I ignore that one. And then finally it stops. I'm like, okay, that's the end of that. They gave up. They're done trying to troll me or sell me something. Either way, they gave up. And I went back to just watching videos on my computer and working on a video at the same time. And about an hour goes by, and I finished my video. I started uploading it to schedule it for later in the day. And of course, while I'm uploading it, I get another restricted phone call. So I let it ring. I just ignore it, like always. It stops ringing, and then right after that, I get another one. And this time I just click decline. I'm like, all right, I'm not watching that phone ring anymore. And they call back immediately. So at this point, I'm just curious. I'm like, okay, who could this be? It's either a telemarketer or someone trolling me or like some bot or something. Like, I gotta see what this is. So I decided to answer it, which was definitely a bad idea. But I did because I was curious and just not very smart. So I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? And no one says anything and they hang up. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. That's kind of creepy. I'm just going to not even think about that. I'm going to go on with my day. But of course, right after they hung up, I get another restricted phone call like 5 minutes later. So I answer this one. I'm like, hello, is anyone there? And a girl's voice responds and goes, is this Austin? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And the voice sounded familiar, but I couldn't exactly tell who it was. And she goes, it's me. And she says her name. And then I realize that it's my old babysitter, who I've made countless videos about and who was at my house recently. So I immediately reply, I'm like, oh, hey, how'd you get this phone number? Because I had just changed my phone number recently, like super recently. And she was like, oh, well, I found your mom's phone number in my old phone, so I decided to call her and ask for your current number so I could get a hold of you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And in my head, I'm just thinking like, come on, like really, mom? She doesn't keep up with my channel too frequently, so it makes sense that she didn't know that it'd probably be a bad idea to give my old babysitter my phone number. But I just respond, I'm like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, so I just wanted to call you about the videos you've been making recently. So I respond, I'm like, yeah, what about them? And she goes, I was just calling to ask, could you take all of them down? And that completely shocked me when she said that, because no joke, not even a month ago, she was emailing me, asking me to be in one of my videos. And then when she was here, not even 2 weeks ago, she was saying that it was fine that I made a new video about her. So she was clearly fine a couple weeks ago with me making these videos, but now all of a sudden she changed her mind. So I ask her, I'm like, why'd you change your mind? Why do you not like the videos? And she just goes, well, I don't like that they're about me. And I'm like, well, you asked me to make a video with me like not even a month ago, so what changed? And she's like, I'm not sure. I just want you to delete them. And I told her what I tell everybody that has a problem with my videos. I'm like, well, I completely kept your name and everything about you private. Every story time I've ever uploaded does not lead back to you whatsoever. I don't give up any of your private information whatsoever. Like, I'm not breaking a single law by just playing some video games, talking over the video gameplay, and just telling a funny or interesting story time. And she was like, I totally get that you're not breaking the law or that it's not an invasion of my privacy, but I just wondered if you would delete them if I asked you nicely because I personally don't like the videos. Like, they're just stupid to me. So I respond to her, I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry you think they're stupid, but just because you think they're stupid doesn't really give me enough reason to private or delete them. Like, I have a lot of people that probably think my videos are stupid or don't like me, but I'm not going to delete all of my videos for them. And she was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And then she just hangs up. And I'm thinking like, okay, was that a prank? Like, was that even real? What just happened? I was so confused. So I called one of my friends who lives here and knows about the whole situation. And I tell him all about it. And he's like, dude, that girl is strange. I'm like, yeah, that situation was a little bit weird, but I don't know. I'm not going to try and think about it. So I just went on with my day. I got my video uploaded and scheduled. And then I just relaxed for a bit. I started watching a movie. And about halfway through this movie, I get a knock on my front door. And I immediately had a feeling. I'm like, okay, I bet I go up to that door and I look through the window, and I bet I'm going to see none other than my old babysitter again. So I get up, I pause the movie, I walk over to the front door, I look through the window, and sure enough, on my front porch, can you guess who it was? Yeah, it was her. It wasn't even a surprise. I wasn't expecting anybody over, so it was like a 99% chance it was her. So I open the door, and I'm like, hey, what's up? What are you doing here? And her mood was completely changed than on the phone. She was angry. Like the most angry I've probably ever seen her. She goes, all right, Austin, I'm not here to play around. Those videos need to get taken down the minute we're done talking here. And I'm like, whoa, no. And she was like, no? I'm like, yeah, why would I delete them? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. And she was like, I don't like them. I think they're dumb. Delete them. They're cringy. I'm like, okay, once again, sorry you think they're stupid or cringy, but no, I'm not deleting them. She goes, while you're at it, delete your whole channel. And I'm like, oh, that really got me. And then she said something really, really insane. She goes, Austin, if you don't delete those videos, I'm going to hire a hacker to delete them for me, along with the rest of your channel. And I'm like, are you threatening to get my channel hacked and deleted? And she was like, yep, and if they don't do it, I'm going to do it myself. I'm like, I don't think you know how, but I mean, you can try. And she goes, all right, look, I'm going to turn around, go back to my car, and drive off. When I get home and I check my phone, those videos better be gone. And I'm like, okay, well, when you get home, they're not going to be gone because I didn't break a single rule on YouTube or with the law by uploading them. No one even knows they're about you. And second of all, if you ever come back here unannounced again, I'm just going to call the police and get a restraining order on you. And she was like, oh, I bet you'd like that. I'm like, yes, I would like that, so I could watch my Netflix in peace without you knocking on my door, threatening me. And she just looks at me with this really angry look for like 2 seconds and just goes, have a good night, Austin. We'll be talking soon. And she turns around and walks off my porch, goes to her car, gets in, and drives away. It was already turned on. She left it running. So I went back inside. I locked all of my doors, all of my windows. I was feeling pretty sketched out at this point. And yeah, pretty much all night I was awake just watching stuff and checking out my window every few hours to see if she was out there, because I was definitely a little bit sketched out. But yeah, I never deleted any of the videos that she was threatening me to take down. And when I upload this video, I'm not sure if she's going to call me again on restricted or show up, but I don't know. But either way, I thought this would be a really interesting story time. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I'll for sure keep you posted on the babysitter saga. If you enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
You talking down when you looking up and I'm like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead and now they know they're fucked. All my texts are unread, that's how I know she's done. My life changed in a flash, all my friends gone, my friends gone.